Look at how many goddamn characters are around me right now. I can't even fit all the characters on screen because there's too many goddamn superheroes now. Anyway, hi guys, welcome back to your boy Soul on Soul Show reviewing the MCU. Today we're talking about Phase 4, Marvel Studios Eternals. Yeah, this was an interesting one in the fact that one, I didn't know anything about these characters going in. I don't think that many people did. I think we're starting to get farther down the rabbit hole in the MCU franchise lore, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I kept hearing all these negative things from Rotten Tomato scores and other people, other critics who did not like the film, even within my own like YouTube circuit that I watch. I didn't watch really any of the reviews until after the film, but just based off the titles and thumbnails, I was like, oof. I was like, this one might not be so hot, but walking out of the film, I enjoyed it. I think there's some serious red flags with this film. And whether or not those red flags carried it and sunk it down your MCU tier list, I think that is up to the person. For me personally, it did not. One of the main disadvantages of this film is it is very, very CGI heavy. I think it's one of those films that can't really be fully utilized until like the past 5 years on terms of how much CGI is in this film because there is constant sets. Keep in mind these sets are scattered all across the globe and they look really good. And despite all that, no matter what, there's going to be effects and digital artistry all over the film. Them using any of their powers is a whole effect, costume effects, powers, CGI fights. How about the bad guy? It looks like he has a bunch of like electric wires like swimming through his body the entire time. Every moment the bad guy is on screen, we have to animate. And on top of that, he has minions who have the exact same effect. Yeah, it's a lot of CGI in this film. Despite that, some of it looks really good. When you're looking at some of the more like colossal size pieces in this film, when you're actually getting to look at some of the celestials that are in this film, that's when it looks really good. Whenever it tries to be like otherworldly, more space opera-y, that's when it looks really good. But since there's so much CGI in this film, there's gonna be those couple of frames, those couple of scenes that just don't look so good. Like, oh, we're trying to film CGI fights at night in a jungle. Yeah, it's not gonna look that good. And there's a lot of teams that work in these films. Every scene might as well be a different team in this film, and that is unfortunate. But I do think the main plot, the main characters are all very enjoyable for the most part. You see this big diverse cast of characters around me, and I felt like that was purposely like so dynamic. Like, what are the odds that the Celeste was like, and you're gonna be an Indian guy, and you're gonna be a black guy, and then we gotta have an Asian man and an Asian woman, and they're all led by two white men who are kind of the bad guys. And you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, other like godly demigod beings use sign language, obviously. And I thought that was for a reason. Like there was gonna be like, oh, each of these characters carved out like a certain subsection of humanity. No, they just happen to all just be super diverse. The Celestial really wanted to get the quota up there. I think we can actually run through each of these characters. We got Gilgamesh up here. Gilgamesh, one of, if not the best character. I just watched Train to Busan like only like a couple weeks ago. So the fact that we got my boy up here, the fact that we got him as an Eternal and he is killing it and he still has so much charisma, it warms my heart. I love this dude. This is Ajak, who was supposed to be like the leader at one point, and she feels so much like a side character despite supposed to be in like the main central hub of the Eternals. This is the leader of the Discount Justice League, and she just doesn't do much with her character. No offense to her actress, she just doesn't seem like she's all that into it. It just feels like you're kind of reading from a teleprompter with some of these characters, and I did not enjoy her. I just realized, yeah, that's Sprite. Oh my god, there's so many characters. Sprite, probably my least favorite out of the entire group. And it felt like this was supposed to be one of the more quirky, like fun characters, you know, ones who have like a little bit more going on with them and they have like this central tethered plot line within their emotions. And no, it just did not land with me. It just feels like some of the moments that were supposed to be like her lines, like they just don't have that much impact. It just doesn't feel like they were really trying with this character. And the fact that she's still like one of the central plot characters, it doesn't do much for me. Really, you don't give a shit about Sprite's feelings. You're just kind of like, oh, okay. By that point, we already had a love triangle, and then it became like a love pentagon. It doesn't need to go that far. Sprite could have just completely been gone from this film, and it probably would have been more enjoyable. Kari, is that how you pronounce this character's name? Yeah, she was that kind of fun side quirky character stuff I was talking about. She basically has the Flash's powers. And again, a lot of the time you have a character who has super speed, it just feels like it feels so annoying when I got nitpick certain scenes and I was like, why would you just stop and stare at things when you have super speed? And I hate that I have to do that again for another like superhero ensemble film. But it was made up for the fact that she is again very interesting and fun character. She actually has fun character traits. I enjoyed using sign language again for a film. And yeah, I enjoyed her. Then we got the main guy over here. We got Robb Stark. Oh boy, I did not know what to feel about this character at first. He's basically your discount Superman. He has discount Superman powers. He's basically Superman minus when he becomes like a god and can sneeze planets away. It's just big, strong laser beam Superman. And he does not go beyond that role at all. He is discount Superman all the way through. And it really starts to feel like, why are we like backtrailing DC storylines? But it really feels like they're just going for like a dark Superman. He does have like a darker side to him, but yeah, they do exactly what you think they would with that character. At one point, he was like the central romance, and I thankfully they side averted that angle completely. But I was very annoyed by that, just how uncharismatic Robb Stark was. That being said, in fight scenes, he was pretty cool. There's a couple like really good moments with him. Robb Stark carried it. What is his actual actor's name? Richard Madden as Ikaris. I enjoy that, and you know the whole demigod angle that these characters have. Kumail. Uh, oh boy, I do not know how to feel about that character. There was some funny lines. There was really good meme fodder for a couple of bits with this guy. He has this whole Bollywood angle. Uh, I think halfway towards the movie, I decided I did not like this character at all. I didn't get to the point where I hated him, but like every time he came on in the second half, I was just like, okay, you got the quota. We met the comedy quota, dude. We don't need to keep doing this. This is supposed to be a serious film about demigods, god damn it. But no, he was fine, I guess. I think they just really relied on him more than they needed to, especially when you got guys like Brian Henry, who I love from Atlanta. He's in Joker, Godzilla vs. Kong. He's in a lot of films nowadays, and every time I'm just remembering Paperboy from Atlanta. He's killing it out here. And now he's in Eternal in Marvel Studios Eternals. That puts a smile on my face. And he's great in this film. I think he is one of those I understand the assignment kind of guys. In this film, he plays a gay. His superpower is like he's like a professional architect who wears fun earrings. He's pretty great. I love him. You got Druig. What is his name? This guy looks like a literal penis. When he is on the screen, I just see the embodiment of a penis. I'm like Jonah Hill in Superbad. His face is just a giant walking penis drawing all throughout this film. And he's pretty good. I actually liked him. In the second half, I really started to enjoy his character. In the first half, he seemed like, oh, another bland Marvel villain-ish anti-hero guy. But no, in the second half, I was like, okay, they gave him like a fun side arc, and in the final act, he's interesting, and he has arguably the most interesting and plot altering powers, so he gets a W in my book. And then you got Angelina Jolie as Athena, aka Thena. She's great. I actually really enjoyed Angelina Jolie in this film. She seems like a very stoic, uh, maybe I'm just gonna act on one single note. My voice isn't gonna alter this 1 decibel, but yeah, I enjoyed her character, even if her whole purpose was to like look like a goddess while doing superhero poses.
And that's what I'm here to do.
The fact that they were able to pull that off and have like this weird PTSD angle with this character, uh, I love that they were just like, give her PTSD and make her crazy, yeah. And then it was like, okay, but it works. Yeah, I enjoyed that, and she again has some of the best fight scenes. If you can look like that and do cool fight scenes, then you pass for movies such as this. Then you got Sersi. It's weird saying Sersi after I've already referenced Robb Stark, and now I gotta talk about Jon Snow here in a minute. But Sersi is basically your hero's journey character. She is like the character template, as you will. And for her part, yeah, she was enjoyable. She served her purpose, and she is supposed to be the character that the other characters bounce off of. So yes, she fulfilled that role. But then he had other supporting characters. The bad guy, I was not a fan. Well, there's multiple bad guys in this film, but the like main antagonist for at least this film is another big CGI monster. I think this is one of those films that really could have benefited from having a dark character who maybe, again, they played with the idea of the Eternals fighting against each other. I think that could have been an actual more interesting angle than they have these, what are they called? Deviants. Yeah, they have Deviants. They get a fun backstory, but it's like the fact that these Deviants are going on this plot thread that is actually completely separate than the plot thread of the whole Earth is gonna be destroyed. It really conflicts with one of each other, and the fact that we have another world-ending story, and the fact that none of the Avengers are here to do anything, the fact that this planet filled with goddamn superheroes is not a part of it, and the fact that the Eternals, I'm glad this film does not feature a cameo from any other previously established Marvel character. That being said, it feels like it's chomping at the bits to do anything Marvel related. Like, if we can just talk about the Avengers, if we can just like maybe slip in, and they have to go into this whole reason why we didn't fight with Thanos, the reason we're here. This is one of those films that could have really been benefited by just taking place in the past. Like, you know how Captain Marvel was able to do that? I think this film could have been even further apart. Go back to World War I, and I think this film would have actually been more relevant to the plot and actually like really benefited from. And these characters can kind of keep their weird stoic thing and it not be weird, and they don't have to be like internet trendy kind of characters. I don't enjoy those aspects of this film where they're, you know, talking about social media and shit like that. Like, we're supposed to be gods. We're supposed to be demigods and stuff. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's a Marvel formula film. It's a film with another indie scoop developer who's going to do exactly what is on paper, but, you know, do what's on paper well, and that's what they do. They are very well-directed films despite this formula, and the fact that they get these talented directors is almost like, they can do anything. They can't be defeated, but despite that formula being used so many times, I'm still not quite sick of it because it's not bad yet. I don't think Eternals is a bad film. I can see why people would think Eternals is a bad film. It definitely is a generic film. It's definitely a film we've seen before. It feels like another MCU formula kind of film. It definitely feels like one of those should have been released straight to Disney Plus kind of films. It's weird that like now that like we're back in theater mode, that's when this film comes out. But nonetheless, they tried to pull off something big, and if it landed, I'm sure Eternals would have been big, but I don't think it quite landed the way that they were hoping it would. But that's the thing. I think we were getting too used to Marvel being like a banger factory for so long. This is a fine, good film. I think I'll enjoy it more than your average person. But this is not like the banger that you see from Marvel films. This is not like the conveyor belt 10 out of 10 films that they were doing, 8 or 9 out of 10 films that they were doing for a while. I think a lot of people are going to find this movie to be a 7. And if you're in the ballpark of me, it's a little bit higher. But before we talk about the score, I want to talk about Jon Snow because they do set up like a whole future plot thread in Eternals. And it feels good that, Marvel is always at the ready to get the page turning and always keep you wanting what's next. And they can usually deliver upon that. So the story that they presented 2 very interesting stories, and I am excited to see what happens with them. And I don't know if I want Eternals 2, at least not for a long time at least. And they do use these characters, and whatever the next big Marvel thing is, they can or they can't. If anything, this should have been a TV show. I think if we were actually able to focus on each character like on an episodic basis or something like that, and actually like really get more into their psyche and actually have more interesting dialogue and actually have like more things to do that isn't just fighting and hanging out in exotic locations, which that's another thing. This film is filmed all over the world. It must have been a bunch of interesting sets. I enjoy that aspect of this film, actually. It definitely helps the we are demigods kind of thing going on with them. But that being said, I'm going to give Eternals an 8 out of 10. Nice. Not even a light 8 out of 10. This is a solid 8 out of 10. A part of me really loves Eternals. But at the same time, there's a lot of red flags. And I know a lot of people are getting tired of this style of film, but I think they're able to get another W from me personally. That being said, thank you so much for watching. Again, subscribe to my other channel, your boy Soul, and let me know what you thought of Eternals down below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, with that, I leave.